Minister for Education, papers.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to status, I present the annual report of the Department of Education for the year 2021. Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to make a statement in connection with my report.
Is leave granted? Make your speech.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Parliament take note of the paper and the debate be urgent and made my statement. Okay. My apology. Mr. Speaker, as required by Section 20 of the Education Act 1983, I am pleased to present this Honourable House the 2021 Annual Report for the Education Department. The 2021 Annual Report informs this Parliament and its performances, achievements and challenges faced in 2021. Mr. Speaker, since this government took office in 2019 to present, this government continues to have education as a priority by heavily investing in this sector. We have introduced the government tuition fee subsidy, GTFS policy, followed by complete exit of the outcome-based education, OBE, replacing with standard-based curriculum, teaching, procuring and supplying science equipment and materials, kits, getting schools of excellence off the ground, to name some. We have, without any shadow of doubt, ensured tangibly that the future needs and aspirations of our people are realized through such heavy investment under the leadership of Honourable James Marape. I will highlight some specific achievements made and challenges faced with each one of them later in my statement. Mr. Speaker, at this juncture, I wish to state that every age and in every land, the power and authority of education have been recognized. South African President Nelson Mandela says, education is most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. It is not a mistake then that education or learning is set as the #1 goal of this country in the preamble to the National Constitution. We have set ourselves a goal to get rid of ignorance in every form in order that we can shine forth in every way as a fully grown, organized human being. We call it integral human development. Mr. Speaker, our Prime Minister, Honourable James Marape, his inaugural address to Parliament on August 9 made a plea to ensuring that every Papua New Guinean child is educated to grade 12 level by year 2027. He said each child must receive a quality education. He said we must utilize digital technology in our education system. The Prime Minister has directed us to integrate flexible open distance education or FODE into the formal education system and to remove all obstacles so that a clear pathway is made for students coming from this branch of education to progress into tertiary sector. In 2021, we have increased our enrollment in FODE from 30,000 to 55,000 enrollment throughout the country. He called us to expand teacher colleges and technical colleges to double their intake. Mr. Prime Minister said all our schools must teach business and commerce so that there is a direct link between our education system and the micro, small, and medium enterprises in this country. The Prime Minister said we must partner with the Defence Force and the National Volunteer Services so that our school leavers at every level can pick up and train in the sector for useful engagement in the society. These directions from our Prime Minister now became our command in Education Ministry and the Department of Education. These are dovetailed with the National Education 2020 to 2029. We have further structured the Prime Minister's directions into the overarching goals in education. And these are: goal number 1 is to ensure every child is educated by grade 12 by year 2027, and number 2, to ensure every child going through this system receives topmost and quality education. Mr. Speaker, these are not mere statements of intention. These goals are work in progress. In summary, they buttress our government's twin goals to improve access to education to grade 12 by year 2027 and to deliver quality education. Papua New Guinea will do the following with the full participation of every province and district. Provinces and districts must take the front seat and take lead. We have a very decentralized education system, and you own and operate schools, whilst my portfolio and the department are responsible for policy and standards. Mr. Speaker, to ensure we start education in early childhood and give a solid 13 years from prep education to grade 12 at a government cost by 2027, I call each province and district to eliminate dropout at grade 8 in 2025 and phase out dropout in grade 10 in 2027. We aim for no dropouts in our country, Papua New Guinea, by year 2027. And this must, Mr. Speaker, possibly by undertaking the following, all of us in this term of Parliament. Number 1, we're taking ownership. I ask that the provinces primarily take responsibility of high schools, grade 7 to 12, and vocational technical colleges, and district focus on preschools, elementary, primary, prep to grade 6. Number 2, we convert all high schools to secondary schools taking grade 7 to 12. We prepare to support and endorse all high schools with grade 7 to grade 10 to take up grade 11 and 12. Number 4, we build more classrooms and schools to increase access and reduce class sizes. Based on our projections, we propose that we build 2,243 classrooms by year 2027. Or, in other words, every district must build one high school each year for the next 5 years, or add 2 new classrooms to existing schools, grade 9 to 12, each year. And number 5, we collaborate to have food introduced in every high schools and vocational training centers. Mr. Speaker, I further call for us to support the training, support to train competent teachers to improve pupil-teacher ratio, provide 1 textbook per child. This can include provision of e-copy on tablets. In collaboration with Department of Higher Education, train more and quality teachers, increase school inspectors to schools, and teachers by accommodation in every district. Provide every school access to electronic education. And so all schools have a school learning improvement plans, SLEEP programs. We increase our budget to education at all levels to 20% of our budget every year. We hold every school to account for public funds we invest in schools, and to ensure that teachers attend at school and in class is mandatory, amongst others. Mr. Speaker, at this point, I should like to also briefly outline some major work undertaken by the Department of Education in 2001. In response to COVID-19 pandemic, the Ministry of Education immediately developed the Education Emergency Response and Recovery Plan, known as EERRP. Under this, and in partnership with Global Partners of Education, GPE, and the Government of Australia, we have introduced our My PNG home page with digital learning contents and developed home learning package to support students living at home. I would like to place a special appreciation to the Global Partners for Education, GPE, and the Government of Australia for their timely and generous financial contribution to our COVID-19 response efforts in education. We will continue to pursue this initiative, innovation and initiative, to make them more sustainable and systematic so that Papua New Guinea children can continue to learn from wherever they are. Each new member of parliament has been given a tablet during induction week, and others will receive theirs soon, which contains our education policies and plans and other patient information. The tablets we use to our teachers and students are similar, and the contents are tolerated towards learning, or tailored towards learning. I had MPs to purchase this using DSIP for their schools. The government tuition fee subsidy program, known as GTFS, has continued despite the COVID-induced financial shortage, and this has relieved a lot of parents. This policy is given opportunity for every child to come to school and remain in school, and for us to leave no child behind. This continues under the Marape government into the future. Mr. Speaker, furthermore, the government of Papua New Guinea relaunched the behavior management policy to tackle the issue of violence in schools and focus on well-being of students and teachers. Our ICT policy is focused on enabling us to excel in digital information so that each graduate of in the future is fully converted with the information technology and its functions and their application to advance themselves and society. Our SBC ICT curriculum for students from prep to grade 12 is being developed. In 2021, Mr. Speaker, we have transferred most secondary institutions to Ministry of post-secondary institutions to Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology. We have started the establishment of Jiwaka and Sir Max David Technical College, and will be handed over to the higher education in 2023. We have reviewed the Department of Education's functions and its organizational structure, and will in 2022 restructure the department so that the department functions more effectively in delivering services. We are in the process of transferring other functions of provincial governments to provincial governments and have functioning education boards, such as National Capital District. The Department of Education ICT network is connected to all the 22 provinces, including AROB, Autonomous Region of Bougainville. Payroll services have been established in all except Ella Province, Jiwaka, and Gulf. GTFS has been decentralized to 6 provinces, including AROB, in 2022. The review of Education Act 1993, Mr. Speaker, was completed in 2021. Our Education Bill 2022 will be brought to Parliament soon. All secondary schools will offer quality food to all students, and higher education takes such of teacher training. A few provinces are leading, including Southern Highlands. We have built a provincial food headquarters in Mendi in 2021 and will do the same in a few provinces. In the area of quality education, goal number 2, the Department of Education has developed a national curriculum standard framework over the last 7 years with emphasis on 4 subjects: CVE, ethics, Christians and civics education and development ICT, and financial literacy packages. We have also purchased out elementary education and have a new school structure in place as from 2018, and have placed emphasis on English and languages of instruction at the school levels throughout the country. The Department of Education has restored and improved integrity to the examination system and ended malpractices and exam cheating since 2016. We had no official incident of cheating in 2021. In the interest of quality education, we have realigned and unified the contents of FODE and the general education curriculum. Work is in progress for a single examination at grade 12. In addition, we are progressing well with National Schools of Excellence, what we call STEM education. I will give a separate statement on Parliament on the National School of Excellence in a later date. Mr. Speaker, our education plan also dovetails well in the global United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which emphasizes education. We are leading with the agency to develop our first ever education sector plan. Mr. Speaker, I am happy to inform the House that much of these are not mere plans on the drawing board, and I have tasked every province at the recent TVWAN Senior Education Officers Conference to leave the routine and think out of the box and get the job done. Mr. Speaker, to conclude, we face challenges in all that we have undertaken, but every child is calling and demanding you and I to give them their rights. We give every child deserve to complete grade 12 by 2027. The Marape government is committed to transforming education and to enabling our stakeholders and improving connectivity with all parents, all partners, in order to make education of our child or children our number one business. Let us make education for all our business and leave no child behind. Mr. Speaker, I commend this report to the Parliament.